we moved into servicing our individual student market. And what we've been able to do is take our corporate experience and apply that and assist our individual students. So that's where our advantage comes over any other provider. We've received 17 awards in the past 6 years. The two big ones over there are the BRW Most Innovative Companies and the Australian Human Resources Institute HR Service Provider of the Year. So that's on our corporate side, a very well-established, well-renowned business in the corporate learning space. And as I said, in October last year, we moved into the individual space. So how does the MCI Institute fit in? So the MCI Institute is actually a subsidiary of MCI. We are one company, it's just two different brands. MCI on the left-hand side, as you can see, works with large organizations in the B2B market, Toll, CBA, Woolworths, Kennards, AHD, Department of Defence, Australian Federal Police, and hundreds of others. On the Institute side, we only deal with individuals. So that's where that fits in. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
No questions? Can everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, so as I'm sure all of you know, Vet Fee Help is available to assist eligible students studying higher level vocational education and training. A very similar scheme to HECS and a lot younger than the HECS scheme. But basically at the moment it's only available to diploma level, advanced diploma level, vocational graduate certificate and vocational graduate diploma. They are trialling Cert 4s in a variety of different sectors, not in ours yet, but for now it's just for diploma levels. It can be used to pay for all or part of the qualification. We haven't had a student yet that wants to only loan part of the qualification, but when they do, I'll let you know. But the student can technically pay for some of the course and loan the rest. According to the government, it can't be used to fund additional study costs such as textbooks and accommodation. That's not relevant to us. We're obviously all online, so there's no need for accommodation. And in terms of textbooks, we provide everything as part of the course. So, of course, as I'm sure you know, there's no such thing as a free lunch, so all of our Vet Fee Help courses have a 20% loan fee. That's not relevant to students who are studying with certain providers in Victoria or South Australia. We are based in New South Wales, so that is not relevant to us. All of our students are full fee paying students, which means they don't get exempt from that 20% loan fee. The loan fee is added to their total debt for tax purposes, so the cost of most of our courses is around $9,600. So the 20% is added on top of that for tax, but it doesn't count towards their lifetime fee help limit. So the government has decided to cap the amount of study that somebody can do in their life, whether they pay it back or not. And that's just because, can't go on forever. I can't keep giving them free courses and there's no outcome. And at the moment, I'll go into more detail on that, but at the moment it's $96,000. So that's $96,000 that a student can loan for their entire life, whether they win the lottery today and pay back their $10,000 loan that they loaned yesterday, and they pay that back today. It doesn't matter. Their limit still sits at $10,000. It's just a lifetime limit. So this is straight from the government website, but it's pretty simple. You're eligible if you're an Australian citizen or permanent humanitarian visa holder. A permanent humanitarian visa holder is somebody who's come to Australia seeking asylum. They've been granted a temporary humanitarian visa. They hold the temporary one for 2 years, and then they become a permanent humanitarian visa holder. We, in our thousands of students, do not have one of those. I'm yet to find one that exists. I don't believe that actually exists, but if you do find one, let me know. And we obviously do need proof of their visa as well. But Australian citizen is the most common one. The next requirement is that they have a tax file number. If they don't, they need to provide a certificate of application for a tax file number. So it takes 21 days from the ATO to get one, and they just need to provide us with a certificate that the ATO has issued stating that they have applied for one. And the last requirement is that they can't be over that lifetime limit. So they can't have borrowed more than $96,000 in their whole life. we lose a lot of students because they are permanent residents or student visa holders or New Zealand citizens. That's just the unfortunate name of the game. It's one of the first things I would always check, because it definitely is one that defines whether somebody can get vet fee help or not. Does that make sense to everyone?
Right.
Perfect. Excellent, Charles. Thank you. Great. I'll just keep going. Again, if you have any questions, just keep... somebody has raised their hand. I don't know your name. If you have a question, just type it into chat. There aren't many of us, so it's quite easy to manage. No worries. All right. I'll just keep going. Again, if you have any questions, just type it into chat. So in terms of the fee help threshold, this is your lifetime limit that I've been harping on about for the last couple of minutes. This goes up every calendar year. So last year it was about 93,500. This year it is 96,000, and that goes up incrementally each year. We've only ever had one student that has come close to that limit. So we had a student that had borrowed 93,000, and they couldn't do our course because they were so close to the limit. Everyone else, I'd say, is pretty close to about 10, 20, 30. We've had people in the 50,000 mark, but it's quite tough to spend $96,000 on courses. In terms of paying back the loan, a lot of questions around this from students. This goes through their tax. So after they start earning $51,309 per annum, and that's not just salary, that's all of their income. So that's dividends and interest and rental income, whatever sorts of income they may be getting, that's everything. So I would never, ever suggest that if a student asks you, how much do I have to pay back? I earn $55,000 a year. I would always direct them to the Study Assist website, because on the Study Assist website, it has the tax tables and they can work it out themselves, because we don't ever want to be in a position where we say to a student, oh, you have to pay $100 a month or whatever it may be. And then suddenly they haven't told us about $5,000 that they earn from a house that their parents left them and it's earning them rent. And then suddenly they have to pay more and you're in trouble because you've told them one thing and it's another thing. So I always just direct them to the Study Assist website. It's a government website. It's very easy to understand and read, which is surprising, but that's the best place to go. That amount goes up every financial year. So that's tipped to go next financial year to $53,000, and it goes up incrementally each year, linked to inflation. Another question we get asked is, once I get over that threshold, do I pay back my whole amount in one go? No, you don't. It's a percentage based depending on how much you earn, and it works out to be, just depending on how much you earn, but it's about a couple of $100s a month. If for whatever reason you go over that threshold and then suddenly drop below it, then the payments just stop until you're back over. So it's not, another question that we get asked is it once you start you can't stop? No, it's not. The student, they'll just stop taking until the student is back over that limit. Akbar, you have a question? If they don't earn that much, then they don't pay it back. They just don't start paying until they earn that much. Any other questions on that? Perfect. So these are the tax tables that you can find on the Study Assist website. So if a student is earning $55,000 a year, they pay back 4% of that $55,000. When you start working, or if they're already working, they would declare on their tax form that they have a help debt, and then that gets taken out each paycheck. But if they don't declare that, which isn't the right thing to do, but if they don't declare that, then it goes out of their tax return at the end of the financial year. In saying that, though, it's a much bigger lump sum at the end of the financial year as opposed to just taking it incrementally each month. So they just need to notify their workplace. Any questions on that? Perfect. Just a quick side note, because we have been asked these questions before. What happens if I go bankrupt? All that means is that you just are below the threshold, so you don't start paying it back until you are back over that threshold. Another question we get asked is what happens if I die? If you do, then your final tax return, they'll take whatever wherever you sit on this scale, they'll take out that money, but then it's not left to your estate to deal with. So it's not left to your kids or whatever it may be to pay your debt for you. It's just wiped out after that. Does that make sense? Perfect. So now I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty of things. The first is our current qualifications. So as you can see on the screen, there's a list of qualifications there. The first, the Diploma of Management, obviously directly linked to somebody who wants to be in a management role. So somebody who wants to be a supervisor, a team leader, a team coordinator, and a manager as well. So that has obviously direct job links there. I wouldn't recommend that for somebody who's just stepped straight out of school. Something like the Diploma of Business may be a bit more relevant to them purely because they have no work experience or have minimal office work experience, and the Diploma of Management may not be relevant to the level they're at. The Diploma of Business is a very general business qualification. It has no direct job links per se, but it's a really nice diploma level qualification that gives somebody a general understanding of how business works. The Diploma of Business Administration has direct job links to things like personal assistant, executive assistant, office administrator, anything around the administration function. So that's a really nice one for mums returning to work, for people who are looking for part-time work, for people who are looking for a stable job. There's quite a lot. If you look on Seek, there's a lot of jobs in administration, and most of them say a minimum of a Cert 3 or a Cert 4 requirement. And I often say to people, well, why go for the minimum? Go for the diploma level. Then you've got the Diploma of Marketing, direct job links into marketing roles. It's not going to get you, into the marketing manager role, but it's definitely the foot in the door that you need to get in. Most jobs, again, the same as business administration, usually say a minimum of a Cert 4 in marketing to get there. So I say to people, we'll go for the diploma. First of all, it's vet fee not funded, but why go for the minimum when you can go for a level above? The Diploma of HR, we have quite a lot of women studying that course. Sticking to the stereotype, but that's again same as marketing. It's not going to get you into the HR manager role, but it's a really, really nice qualification to get somebody into the HR team to make their way up. It's a really nice general HR qualification. It covers all areas of HR. It's a really nice one if people have worked in HR before and now want to formalize their skills. The Diploma of WHS, which is Work Health and Safety, it's the new OHS. That's an interesting one. I'll come back to that one a bit later because it's got a few of its own requirements. But that one is really nice for people who may have been in construction or logistics, transport, those manufacturing, those sorts of jobs, and now want more of an office job. So whether they got injured at work or whatever it may be, they now want to be in the office. And with this qualification, they can be a work health safety officer, a work health safety coordinator, work health safety manager. So that's a really nice one as well. And we're one of the only RTOs in Australia providing that as a qualification through Vet Fee Help online. Lynn, I can just see that you have a question there. No, nothing from you, Lynn? Okay, no worries. And then we have a variety of dual diplomas as well. So we've got things like the Diploma of Management and Business, the Diploma of Management with Business Admin, the Diploma of Business with Business Admin, Marketing and Management, Marketing and Business, and those are the only ones that we have for now. Any questions on those qualifications? In terms of what, Lynn? How long will they get it? So once they've finished the diploma, it takes a couple of weeks, as long as all of their assessments are handed in and all competent. It takes a couple of weeks to send the certificate. Perfect. I'll get on to all of that sort of stuff in a second, Akbar. Any questions in relation to the actual qualifications? Perfect. In terms of what's coming, the Diploma of Project Management has just started this month, so we can move that off the list of pipeline. That course is our longest course. It has 12 units, so it's quite an interesting one. That one, just going back to your question, Akbar, all of our courses, as I'll cover soon, are 9 months. The Diploma of Project Management is 10 months. We have the Diploma of Accounting coming soon. That's definitely direct job opportunities into accounting roles. And then in the pipeline still advanced diplomas of business and management and a couple of other ones as well. So in terms of timelines, currently our courses, except for the Diploma of Project Management, are all 9 months. Semester 1 is 5 months, semester 2 is 4 months. So that just depending on which course it is, majority of the units will go into semester 1 and the rest go into semester 2. So that's how it's split up, except, as I said, for the Diploma of Project Management, that is 10 months. All of our dual qualifications are also 9 months. So our duals are set up in a way that the student either has to do 2 or 3 extra units to achieve a dual, but they have to complete that in the 9 months. So that's the dual qualifications definitely have the highest dropout rate because people sign up to them thinking that they can complete that many units in 9 months, but they can't. So that's just something for you to be cautious of. So in terms of the language that we use, so the enrolment date is the student's official start date. It's not the day that they signed up, it's the start date. We have enrolment dates every 2 weeks on a Tuesday. So, for example, tomorrow isn't an enrolment date, but next week, Tuesday, is an enrolment date. So students will start every 2 weeks on a Tuesday, but that means that all of their forms have to be in by close of business the Monday before. So if we have students starting next Tuesday, all of their forms will need to be in by Monday, 5 p.m. And that's all forms, not just partial forms. This marks the start of their first semester. So this is, from their 5 months starts, and it also helps them to work out their census date as well. As I mentioned, census date, I've put it in purple there. It is the most important date for everyone. For us, the semester 1 census date is 4 weeks in, semester 2 is 3.5 weeks in. The census date marks the date that the student incurs a debt, so they essentially can try before you buy up until the census date. It's also the date that we recognise them officially as a sale for you guys, so if they drop out prior to census date, then there's no commission or any sale recognised. As well as that, it's also the date that we dispatch their iPad or their Chromebook, depending on what they choose. So it's a really, really important date, and we make contact with them numerous times prior to census date and, of course, after as well. And we won't pass anyone through census date until they've put into writing that they understand that they are passing through census date and they're happy to stay. So as I said, it's 4 weeks after their start date. So you may have somebody who signs up today. They'll only start next Tuesday, and their census date will be 4 weeks from next Tuesday, not from today. Does that make sense for everyone? Perfect. And then the end date is their final date of the semester. It's the final chance to submit assessments. There's no extensions on this date unless the student can prove extenuating circumstances. In saying that, though, we are very liberal in giving extensions. So if a student, we obviously understand that some students are working, some students come from different backgrounds, studying may not come to them as easy as their neighbour, but if a student can prove that they're continuously working, they're continuously progressing, then we are very happy to offer them an extension. Where we are not happy to offer a student an extension is when the student hasn't logged on, isn't doing anything, and all they want to do is keep extending because our courses are all Centrelink approved and they just want access to Centrelink funding during that time. Then we are not willing to give them an extension, and in fact we will happily remove them from our course prior to census date if they do nothing. So they cannot sit on our course because they will ever earn, because we need to see activity. They need to be constantly active. And in fact, they should hand in at least 1 unit prior to census date. So it's something that we closely monitor. As I said, we understand that everyone works at different paces. Everyone has their own circumstances, but it's something that we take very seriously. On that census date, we will issue them with a Commonwealth Assistance Notice. It's not an invoice, so some people get a bit of a fright because they see $7,200 is owed and they think they have to pay it back. It's not an invoice. They do not pay it back until they are earning over $51,309, but it is the government's way of letting people know how much that they owe them eventually. So this is what it looks like in a bit of a diagram. You can have a sales discussion from anywhere between 1 minute to 12 months. You could get lucky and chat to someone, and turns out they have been thinking about this for the last 6 months and now they want to sign up. And then sometimes and often people will say, leave me with some details. I need to chat to my partner. I need to decide if this is, right for me, blah, blah, blah. So that can happen. Then we receive the enrolment form in full prior to the start date. So anytime prior to the start date, they're all online enrolment forms, so that's quite easy to send through. The student will then begin their course at the next enrolment date. Obviously, if a student wants to delay that start, then they'll put down an enrolment date at a future date. So we have some students who enrolled a couple of weeks ago, but they don't want to start in April because it's school holidays, so they're starting in May. And that's more than fine. They just need to put down the date that they want to start, as long as it falls on our enrolment cycle. They then start. Their census date will be 4 weeks into the first semester. That semester will go for 5 months. They can finish prior to 5 months. We've got quite a few students who are eager to finish and get their diploma earlier. That's completely fine, and they'll enroll in semester 2 as soon as they finish semester 1. So let's say a student uses a full 5 months, they go to their end date where all their assessments are due. We will then enroll them into the next start date for semester 2. The student will begin their course at the next enrollment date and then continue for another 4 months. That's census date. How long does it proceed for enroll and withdraw? Can you explain that a bit further, Charles? So once we receive the form, our team processes it within a couple of hours, and they'll notify you if there are any issues with the person's form. If a student wants to withdraw prior to census date, then they do that internally with us, and we will notify you if a student has withdrawn. Does that answer your question, Charles? Perfect. Okay. So as I said, the diploma of work health and safety is slightly different. It's the only course that has a prerequisite. So a lot of other providers you'll go to will say, well, to do our diploma course, you need a Cert 4. For us, that's fine. We are happy if somebody doesn't have a Cert 4 to do our diploma course. They don't even need a Year 12. But with the Diploma of Work Health and Safety, they do need the core units of the Cert 4. That's a government requirement. So the student can either come to us with a Cert 4 in Work Health and Safety, and that's fine. If they don't have that, then that's no issue at all. We offer them a free pre-course assessment. They need to complete this prior to completing their forms. So this is about a 50-page Word document. It's designed as a simulated workplace. So, they move through the Safeville environment and they get to, work for Ivana Be Safe, and she takes them through the whole concept of work health and safety. Once they have finished that and has been marked competent, then we can enroll them in our course. So obviously it's fantastic because we don't force them to go and pay for a Cert 4 in Work Health and Safety, but from a sales perspective it obviously makes it go a bit longer. We don't offer student support as well because we provide this course at no cost to them. Does that make sense to everyone? All right, I'll keep going because I didn't get any questions. So it's pretty simple from our end. Everything, if the student wants to take more load, can you finish in less than 9 months? Yes, he can, Lynn. All of our courses, they can complete as fast as they want. So in terms of course costs, it's $1,200 per unit. So an 8-unit qual is $9,600, a 9-unit qual is $10,800, 10-unit qual is $12,000, and so on and so forth. That's the easiest way we knew how to do it, and so it's quite easy for you to work out how much the courses cost. How will it be offered? So all of our courses are offered online through the MCI Institute eCampus. We will have a few face-to-face options in the future, but for now everything is online and students are surviving just fine. Obviously, in saying that, when you do talk to students and they flag with you that they're not comfortable using a computer, or they don't own a computer, they don't have access to a computer, they don't have access to internet, then it's a bit of a red flag. We require that students have regular access to an internet-enabled computer. It doesn't mean that they have to have one themselves. It just means that they either have to borrow from a friend or go down to their local library or JSA or whatever it may be, but they have to have access and they have to make a plan. If they're not willing to make a plan and they're not accessing their course, we will cancel them prior to census date. It's very simple. As well as that, some students may say, my internet skills aren't that great. That's fine. To do our courses, all students need is the ability to use email, the ability to search Google, and to use a word processor. So whether that be Microsoft Word or Apple Pages or whatever it may be, they have to be able to use that. So what do they get with their course? They get either an iPad Air. Charles, there's no tests or exams. All it is competency-based assessments, so short answer questions and assignments, but there's no tests or exams. There's no essays or anything like that. It's all based on case studies and scenarios. We allow up to 5 resubmissions per assessment. So if somebody's marked not yet competent, their mentor will let them know, and then they will be able to resubmit that up to 5 times. So it's really, if somebody's willing to work, there's very minimal chance that they could fail. Does that answer your question? Perfect. So what do they get? They get to choose between an iPad Air or a Chromebook. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Chromebooks before. I hadn't before this. Has anyone heard of a Chromebook before? Basically, it's either a Toshiba or Asus. We send a Toshiba fully functioning laptop, but all that it has on it is Google Chrome. So it's a fantastic solution for somebody who doesn't have a laptop at home. It's really, really great for them, and we recommend it if they don't have a laptop at home, because completing an entire course on an iPad is definitely doable, but it's tough. It really, really is tough. And so we encourage students who don't have access to a laptop to get that Chromebook. With the Chromebook as well, we provide 1 month free internet for them on Optus, and then they can recharge that afterwards. Whereas with the iPad, we give them the facility of 3G, but we don't provide them with a SIM card. As I said, that iPad or Chromebook only goes after census date, so the student needs to confirm that they're staying, and then we issue that. As well as that, they get eCampus access for their entire semester duration, and we give them 15 extra short courses that we provide to our corporate clients. So things like time management, email writing, interviewing skills, how to handle difficult people, customer service excellence, all the sort of things that can get them ready for the workplace. And that's all included and provided with their course costs. So this is just a screenshot of the eCampus. As you can see, it's quite nicely designed. It's very, very easy to use. We've never had any complaints from students about not being able to use it. In terms of course materials that we provide, so each unit, as I said, some courses are 8, some courses are 9, and some courses are 10 units. So each unit has a course workbook. This used to be called a textbook, but it was a bit too scary for everyone. So now we call it the course workbook. This is anywhere between 30 and 100 pages long, so it is a textbook, but we use that more as reference material for students. So we encourage them to do their interactive e-learning session, which is anywhere between a 20 to 30 minute module summarizing the key points of the unit for them. We then encourage them to start their assessments and use their mentor or the forums where they can. The forums are very, very active, and a lot of students are willing to help each other, which is great. And then if they need any assistance, then we tell them to go on to their workbook. The workbook can be quite scary for people. That's why we try and push them towards the assessments first, because obviously the assessments are the ones that we're going to be looking at. As well as that, we provide them with articles about what's happening in the world today, and that's just extra for them as well. Any questions on that so far? Perfect. All right, other things that they get on our eCampus. So as I mentioned, they get those work skills. So there's a 15 work skills, which is fantastic. They get My Desk, which is a place where they can store all of their information. They can put a to-do list, a calendar, some reminders. They get to private message each other. So we've got a Facebook feature, and a lot of them use it. They put up their interests and likes and photos of them and their family, and it gets quite exciting for them. A lot of friendships made out of our eCampus, which is great. We also give them badges, which are like awards, and they can add those to their CV. So, they'll get their diploma, plus they'll get their 15 work skills courses, and they'll get their badges, which are things like peer support badge and a few other things which come with a blurb from our director. So it's really, really nice CV boosters for them. And of course, online submissions, which are fantastic because nothing gets lost in the post, and no tears that way. So definitely the key benefits of the iPad or the Chromebook, it's not a free iPad and it's not a free Chromebook. They do pay for it because it's included in their course fees. And as I always say to students, is if the only reason you're signing up for the iPad is for the iPad, then it's the most expensive iPad you will ever buy, because it's a very costly venture to sign up just for an iPad. But it definitely is a fantastic study tool for students, and of course it's a great way to sign them up. Those essential work skills are a huge benefit as well. Of course, the fact that, we're very different to VOCA or Martin College or TAFE is that we've had all of our corporate sector experience and all of our multi-awards that we've run. So it really is a huge differentiator. The eCampus and the assessments are really easy to use, which is always a huge bonus. There's no essays or exams or anything like that. We have a dedicated support team based in Sydney, so that's excellent. There's no overseas call centres or anything like that. And we have start dates every 2 weeks, which is great. And of course, the diploma of WHS, which is what I've told you, we are one of very few providers that has that in Australia. So I know I've mentioned a few times, we have course mentors, which is definitely a huge selling point to people. Each student will have their own dedicated course mentor that they can contact during business hours or email anytime. And that mentor will be able to assist them with any questions they have, check in and help them with submission problems, or if they have some confidence issues, they think they know the answer but they just want to double check. That's what their mentor is there for. The mentor also helps them set goals and a realistic study plan, and the mentor takes over as the primary contact for you once you've made the sale. So once the sale has occurred, the mentor will be the primary contact. In saying that, though, their mentor won't contact them until their start date. So when you're chatting to students, just let them know and set the expectation that once they've handed in their forms, we will send them a confirmation email as long as all of their forms are correct. So they should look out for that email. And then on their start date, they will get a welcome email that will ask them to book in a time with one of their mentors. So please do not tell them that their mentor will call them straight away. Their mentor won't. We will email them confirming their enrollment, and then they will only get a contact once they have started. Does that make sense? Perfect. So who are our students? So as I mentioned, we have a lot of stay-at-home mums, a lot of people that are planning to go back to work or are just plain bored at home. Obviously, the paying back of the vet fee help loan is based on their personal income. So it's not based on what the household is earning, it's based on them. So their husband may be earning, $100,000 a year, but they're earning nothing, and so they don't have to pay it back yet. So that's a really, really fantastic one for them. Then there are school leavers. We have quite a lot of those, whether they left in year 10, 11 or 12, looking to do some part-time work and study as well, so they don't want to go back into a classroom environment. They would rather do it online in their own time and at their own pace. We've got a small percentage of students that are just looking to improve their skills, or we have quite a lot of people looking for a promotion. So, they were told that they need to go and get a qualification. Then a large percentage of our students are unemployed. Those students are fantastic. A lot of them are looking to get back into the workplace. As I said, the course is Centrelink approved, so a lot of our students request letters from us confirming that it is full-time study, and that it enables them to, first of all, not look for full-time work during their studies, but also it may give them, not always, but may give them access to extra Centrelink benefits. So that's something for them to look out for, and once they've started their course, they can ask their mentor for a confirmation letter as well. So who are our competitors? These are the ones that we come up against the most. Avoca College, obviously expanding quite a lot. Martin College, I've left one off there, which is Careers Australia. Seek Learning, and the Open Universities, who obviously sell on behalf of TAFE. We come up against TAFE as well. People traditionally still love TAFE. Not my cup of tea, but it is for some. And I'm sure there's many others that you would come up against, but those are the big ones. So in terms of how you sign them up, so there is an online enrollment form and an online vet fee help form. They are your own online forms, so that means that once a student has filled it out, we get notified that it came from you guys, and then that would help us out a lot, because we can track where the student has come from, as well as that you get a notification from the system saying that student John Smith with the date of birth blah 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 has signed up for this course, and it'll send you a notification for an enrollment form, and it'll send you a notification. Does that make sense to everyone? The student will also get a copy of that form, so they will get the full form. You'll only get a small notification. Obviously, for privacy reasons, we can't send everything. And so from there, you'll be able to see which of your students have completed their forms. Another thing that we just ask for is a verbal understanding that the student understands that this is a Commonwealth loan. It's everyone gets a bit excited. They hear free iPad, they hear job opportunities, they hear all these fantastic things, but just taking that second to just sit with them and explain you do understand that you are taking out a Commonwealth loan, and all of that. It's just something, I could never test you on it and I could never check it, but it's just something that, first of all, improves your dropout rates because students aren't lied to or confused about what's going on, but it's just something that we ask from our salespeople. And then, as I said, the enrollment form handed in prior to start date. Any questions on that? No? Perfect. So as I said, we're very, 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 very compliance focused. This is something for us that is just so important. Our status as an RTO, our status as vet fee help, we don't waive that for anyone. If there is ever an issue, it's basically a straight warning to whoever said the wrong thing, did the wrong thing, whatever it may be. And we are very happy to cancel any contracts immediately if there are any compliance issues. For us, compliance is absolutely everything. And with compliance comes ethics. And we hear from the students straight away if they have been lied to, if there was something told to them that isn't true, if they were, led on to believe that the course is one thing and it's another. First of all, they won't stay, so you won't get commission anyway, but that's something for us that we take very seriously. Any questions on that? Please also just remember that people are signing up for a government debt in their own name. As much as we love, making sales and doing different things like that, they are signing up for a government debt. So it's not something to play around with. I know you guys have a lot of experience in this, but for us it's something that really is important. Any questions on that? Any questions in general? Any questions from anyone else? No, who am I waiting on? Lily, do you have any questions? No worries. Guys, if you ever have any questions, feel free to go through Lily and Shane or myself can answer any questions. I would urge you to have a look around our website to, have a look at the enrollment form and the vet fee help form. Just one thing on the vet fee help form. It'll ask the student for a student ID. That's a pretty easy formula. All that it is the first 4 letters of their last name, followed by the first 4 letters of their first name, and then the last 2 digits of their year of birth. So for me, it would be, I'll type it into chat for you now. Any other questions from anyone?